a broken B-Link computer. I replaced it because this one's out of warranty by several months. My client said, oh, I just ordered a new one. And let's see, I've got other things around here because now I'm thrown a little bit.
DougBot said, I'm working here.
I've got audio confirmation this time because I was broadcasting. I did start exactly at top of the hour. But OBS and Stream Deck was not on board. I was flapping my jap for about 5 minutes, 4 minutes, when I realized, because of people in chat, that no, I actually wasn't broadcasting. So you got that. I've got a Synology NAD, a NAS deployed at a client's office, so can tell you what's going on with that. I've got a really bad communique, should I call it, from Google. Just stupid. How many times do they do bad communications? I've got a rather stupid, clever Amazon scam message on my cell phone. I know there was a couple other things that I thought were interesting to talk about, but nothing really burning, nothing really on the top of my list. So do I go back to chat again? Because I've already addressed chat. You just weren't listening because you were at the wrong place where I can't go anywhere with that. I just tucked myself into a hole. It was totally the problem here. And it's the problem with that I've told you about with Big Beast Build, that I'm rebuilding it from scratch on another bootable drive, but I'm still on the old drive. And so what happens when I tested my live stream and I had to make an adjustment to the microphone because it wasn't working right. I had to make an adjustment in OBS because it wasn't signed into YouTube right. And I had to fix SpeakerBot. So I got all those things working perfectly. And then I hit the stop stream button for it to stop. And then I chose the correct stream, all ready to go to start the stream. I hit the begin stream button and started flapping my yap. And it wasn't streaming because this problem that I have with OBS, where it fails to stop the local recording. So I saw people in chat saying, where's Doug? Something like that. That was my first clue. Something was wrong. All right. So, hello, Scott. Ken Stout, second. Tim Cruz, third. He says, where's the intro? I miss your intro so much. I'm betting you, when I told him to refresh your browser about 5 minutes before showtime, I bet he wasn't watching at that time and didn't catch it, because I did the Cheers trailer. And I think I did the Cheers trailer last week. Tim, I don't think you saw it then, did you? Because it was there, if I remember right. Parker Morris, hello. Josh Kinder, a.k.a. Ghetto Fortnite. David Graham, hello. Daniel Pert, hello. Rand Israel, hello. Live Windows Training, DougBetts. Hi to you too. Scott again. Selden Ball with the weather report. Mike Wojcik, hello. Jim KJ3N here for the start. I think he's usually out at lunch with his wife, maybe at show start time, I think. Obviously, the world is coming to an end for Jim to be here. Good to see you, Jim. Let's see. David Graham, Scott, Jim. Apocalypse now. Yeah, this is the first clue. Let me guess, the streaming rig died again. And that, what? Why is he saying that? I look over at OBS and it shows a 00:00 stream time. I tell you what, when I don't do this every day, I just don't get everything covered. Apparently high-end PCs have trouble doing more than one thing at a time. Yeah, that's right. And their operators. Phil Stodd, hello. So then there's SpeakerBot stuff. Now, did SpeakerBot stuff come in the first time around? Because that's possible. No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't have. Okay. Duman 2000. Ken says he has the same issue with OBS. The same issue where the local recording won't stop. Is that the issue that you have, really? You stop the live stream and the local recording won't stop? Because so far, when I'm building the new Big Beast build on the new drive that I have installed,
that's a big 10-4.
That is working. And he says yes. Well, that worries me, because am I going to get it all built out and then find that I have the same problem eventually? Or maybe it's because of some add-in that I don't have on the new installation yet, because I don't have StreamerBot and SpeakerBot functional on the new drive yet. And I don't have Stream Deck functional yet. I do have all my scenes and sources there. So maybe I'll add something along the line and it'll get broken again. So I need to keep testing at every step along the way. So thank you for that, Ken. No, he wasn't. Tim was not watching last week, and he didn't catch the trailer today. Yes, as Scott's asking Ken Stout, how did your channel get fixed? I got that report from him this morning. His video unavailable symptom is fixed. I'll give a rundown of that in a moment. We'll see if he's given that. If Ken doesn't give it, I'll tell you what he told me this morning in text messaging. Some high-end PCs have trouble. Not at all. That's sarcasm for you. So if anybody has a current problem happening with their computer, that gets priority today. Well, every show. Oh, Ken says he uploaded a video showing it was fixed. Hello, Chris Garrett. So what he told me this morning by text message is that he got into a live chat with a real person on Sunday night via Google. And he sent them an unlisted video showing the symptom. They said they would email him back within 24 hours, which that never happened, but it just started working. And I think he said it started working yesterday by itself. So today is Saturday. Started working on Friday. He had that interaction with them on Sunday. So after 6 days, no email, but it's fixed. So like that age-old teenage proverb that says, when you have a problem, just ignore it. It'll go away. So now I had something else in mind to show today, to pursue today if he still had the problem. So I'm going to go ahead and tell about that, because it came up in my research, is that this chat bubble up here in the YouTube studio, chat with creator support, this and Twitter are from my research, what I did, the most reliable ways to get through to a real person. This chat bubble will get, the documentation says this will get you through to a live support person if your channel is in the partner program, meaning it is monetized. If you use this chat bubble and you're not monetized, then you're just going to get the AI system. It starts out with the AI system, but you can get to a live person. Whoops, I got to turn this off to show you, because right here we're in an AI system here, obviously. But the research, and this is through AI research, that says that would work. So what I intended to do is I have an AI chat where I fully describe the symptoms to the AI, and I was going to ask it to compose an opening message to this chat system, which is AI, and I was going to ask it to design that message in a way that will get us as quick as possible to a live support person. I could try doing that today just to see it gets there and then tell them, no, just kidding. I don't know if I want to do that. But actually showing how to get a AI system to create, to draft a effective text for you. That is something that I think maybe a lot of people are missing in the AI experience. Yes, Ken, you should post a link to your video that shows the solution. Chris saying Ken is confused, doesn't know what he's doing. Mysteriously fixed. Doug's streaming rig reminds me of this. The more they overtake the plumbing, the easier it is to stop up the drain. From Scotty, Star Trek for the Voyage Home. The more they overtake the plumbing, the easier it is to stop up the drain. Okay. I don't remember that one, but then I don't remember a lot. Lawn dog struggling here. Issues. Myself and Windows 10 machine. Need to do a Macrium restore. That's DougBot. You pick a point. It's everything from that point. Behind, not necessarily what's been happening. I don't want to take up too much time on the subject, but when you pick a point, it's everything from that point and behind, not necessarily what's been happening before the restore point. Okay, Lawn Dog, I think you're mixing things up here. Macrium restore, a restore point is not a valid terminology. Macrium doesn't have restore, doesn't use the term restore point as far as I can recollect. System restore uses restore points. Macrium, you can restore from a, if you restore from a differential backup or a, what's the one that starts with an I? Incremental backup. It's going to restore everything prior to that and from that point forward. When you restore from an incremental backup, it is not just restoring from that point forward. It's restoring everything prior to that point and forward. So the term restore point has not a good word to use, in my opinion. Hope that makes sense. Dragons Naturally Speaking, the program I believe has been corrupted. It just won't run properly without Dragon. I don't participate. Okay, so he's telling us he's not going to participate as much. Are you actually typing today? Wow. Now what you could do is you could mount the image. I think you can even do that in the free version. You can mount the image and just drag the folders for Dragon Naturally Speaking, your profile folders for Dragon Naturally Speaking, to the to your current system. That would be the thing to do if you only want to restore Dragon Naturally Speaking back to its state. So Dragon Naturally Speaking, let's go find out where those files are stored. Let's go to, we'll take AI Studio this time. I want to restore my Dragon Naturally Speaking to a point from about 2 weeks ago where it was working properly. It's not working right currently. Period. I'd like to mount my Macrium Reflect backup image from that time and just copy the folders that I need so that I'm just restoring the user profile data for that program without doing a full system restore. Period. How should I go about doing that? I totally am loving turning to AI for most things these days. So often. It gets kind of wordy. I think the AI systems get paid by the word. So the more words they use, the more money they make. They get kind of redundant sometimes. As exit Dragon Naturally Speaking, back up the current profile. It's optional but recommended. Mount the image. And then drive letter, program data. Oh, program data is a hidden folder. So when you're going to program data, if you bring up File Explorer, let me do this here, and you go to your C drive, there's a folder in here called program data, but see, it's kind of grayed out there. It's hidden, so you can't see it unless you have show hidden files turned on. So I'm going to turn that off so you don't see program data. But I prefer, if I want to go to program data, instead of displaying hidden files, come over here to the C drive and get a blinking cursor there, and then type program data, space data, I think it is, and press enter. No, it's not a space, is it? You know, I just saw it displayed, right? And you can get to it without having to unhide it. And that's true for any hidden folders. If you know the folder exists, you can just type the name of it to get there. And then go to this subfolder, Nuance Naturally Speaking, users, your profile name, and copy that over to your current C drive. So I'm not going to read through the rest of that, but I'll let it all display on the screen so that if anybody wants to, they could. And let's give Lawn Dog some points for bringing a technical topic issue that he's actually having trouble with right now. That'll get him 500 points. Of course, I want to help you. Oh, wait a minute. He's being the sarcasm. So if you don't want to help me, I can understand, because it will limit my speech and participation if that is the goal. Well, I enjoy, particularly if you actually have a technical topic to bring. I think Lawn Dog also gets paid by the word. He's a big chat participant. We'll put it that way. Right now, I'm using my trusty Windows 7 machine. Oh, that's what he's using. Dragon Naturally Speaking on his Windows 7, I suppose. Yeah, Doug, thanks. I was struggling with the terminology. You picked up on that immediately. No problem. Greg, what happened to Kerry's site? He recommended for Windows keys, scdkey.com. They no longer sell Windows or Office keys. He switched from one provider to another because the old provider he was doing was not able to take PayPal payments, I think it was. If there's been a problem with what he's currently using, I'm not aware of that. I don't know if that's quite the right name. See if anyone else has responded to that. Lawn Dog, interesting concept. I didn't even consider this. Just move the files in the folders in the Windows under Nuance. Yes. But if you didn't go to that hidden folder, you might, there's other places where Nuance folders exist. You've got to get to that program data folder. So that's why it's, these days, in my opinion, always good to ask the AI. Now, keep in mind, they are often wrong, and they are often wrong in comical ways. So you still have to be the human meat sack squishy technician and judge what it says with discernment. We try to be your friend and placate you. I always verify the information, since some stuff they spit out. Since some of the stuff they spit out, sounds like he was going to continue on that. Didn't. Windows keys are not available at most sites that had them. You can email Kerry's channel. He can get a key for you. Really? All right. Since Kerry no longer advertises, do not sub. I'm asking here. I'm not up to speed on that issue. So Scott has the most reliable, from my point so far,
read chat,
my
please.
perspective so far. Okay, David Graham's got a read chat, please. It appears to me that no one is selling Windows keys. Kerry can get them behind the scenes. Yeah, I had no idea. Good to know that. Thank you. Steve Dodd, hello. Now Lawn Dog sees I'm skimming over a little bit because you're not actually talking about it. Something I can respond to with a tech issue, but you're good. You're good. Kind of speed reading a little bit, otherwise it'll take me a really long time to get through everything. Carrie said every YouTube channel he looked at don't have them anymore. Email Carrie's channel, he will get a key. Yeah, one of the things that, as I've told you, that I've been reining myself in and focusing on what's really important for me to do is I'm watching way less YouTube. So I don't keep up with all of Carrie's videos anymore. I don't keep up with all of Ken Stout's videos anymore. Very, very, very few notifications that I get do I actually watch the videos anymore because I'm trying to get things done. I still got a huge list of things to do and priorities in my life, and watching YouTube videos, I just have got way back. Let's see, there was a read chat. Oh, here. Steve Dodd, got my Nook running a clean install Windows 11 Pro. Great. Glad to hear that. I recall there was an issue. I don't quite remember the details of the issue. YouTube is for entertainment. Real life is way more entertaining. All right. This I didn't really have this set up to show it. If you want to, we can, but strange symptom. My client turned it off while he was going to be away from home for several days. When I wound up looking at when I wound up looking at Event Viewer, I found that it had been off for like 5 days. He came back and turned it on and called me and said, I can't start any programs. I can't open any programs. So I connected remotely to his computer. I had unattended remote access available, and I couldn't get any response from the computer. Or I think it seems to me that I did get into Task Manager, and I asked him, have you restarted it since you discovered this symptom? Now, this is a person who would, if I say, have you restarted it? He'd say, yeah, I just turned it on. And he's meaning that he just got back from his 6 days away and he turned it on, and he counts that as a restart. No. Have you restarted it since you discovered the symptom? And he had not. So we restarted it. It did not restart. He reported that the power light would come on. Now, it took quite a while to really get this summary from him. That the power light would come on, he'd hear the fan running, and then the power light would go off. A few seconds later, the power light comes back on. And then this time an image comes up on the screen. And then a few seconds go by and the power light goes off. And then the power light comes on again. And here's the fan noise. And then a repairing message comes up, preparing to repair, something like that. It's a common symptom if Windows has failed to start up 3 times in a row. And it looked like it was starting to do that. And then power light went out. Computer's off again. And we were doing this on FaceTime, so I was able to see this happening. So I said, you know what, I just need to come pick that up. And I figured I'm going to complete the repair and it's not going to be a big deal. So I get it over here and I'm having had the same symptom. Power light come on and goes off. Sometimes it'll get further along in the boot process, but it never did again get into Windows. It did get into Windows on his first attempt after he got home. So I try a few things. I'm thinking it's feeling really hot back here. So I'm thinking, is it overheating and shutting down because it's overheating? So I took it apart, cleaned out the fan. There's two fans in it. There's one fan that's intended to blow onto a 2.5-inch SSD if you have one installed. There isn't one. Take out the motherboard and get to the fan underneath and clean that. Neither of them were excessively dirty. However, when I blew air through here before disassembling it, there was a pretty significant cloud of dust that came out. So I thought maybe. Anyway, got it all put back together, plugged it in, exactly the same symptom. No difference whatsoever. Sometimes it would get further along in the process, but never get to Windows. So then I try going into BIOS. So hit the delete key as it's starting up and I got into BIOS. Leave it sit in BIOS. Just not doing anything. Well, actually the first time I was looking to see if I could find any report about thermal overheating history or log or anything like that. There's nothing in there in this BIOS for that. So anyway, just leave it sit in BIOS. And after a few seconds, power light goes out and it's off again. So I'm thinking power supply. I look around, find out I don't have any compatible power supply. So I order a replacement power supply from Amazon. I was just looking around for it because it was on my desk this morning, but I took it away. Lawn Dog is asking power adapter. Yeah, so got a brand new power adapter in, same exact symptom, no difference whatsoever. So let's see. Next, I'm thinking, oh yeah, it's out of warranty. So I'm thinking maybe there's some other trick or something that I might be able to get some guidance from B-Link. But in the meantime, I figured I want to get him up and running. So I take the NVMe drive out of here and I put it into this B-Link computer over here. It's mine. I own it. It's a lower capability B-Link. And I don't let it boot off of there. I boot on a macro flash drive and make an image backup. So before any adjustments are made by virtue of Windows starting up in that other computer, I get an image backup of it. And that computer has that NVMe drive has a second partition, which is a backup partition. It's where Macro routinely stores full image backups, and that is still there. So I still have access to that as well. I've answered why I do that before. I'm not going to answer why I like that partition method as one option of backups. It's not the full backup strategy. So I got that backup image. So then I booted up on this and I already have a collection of drivers folders for various different computers, and the B-Link, whatever that SC12 I think it's called. I already have a backup of the drivers for that. So anyway, it boots up and has a whole bunch of exclamation marks in Device Manager, and I point it to the folder on the flash drive where I have those drivers, and it successfully loads all of those drivers. So all the exclamation marks are gone, and now I'm ready. I could deliver that to him. So I call him and I start explaining to him what's going on about the computer's got a problem that I can't fix. It's out of warranty and not very much longer. He says, "Hey Doug, let me stop here. Just buy another one. Just buy another one, transfer the content over, and let's be done with it." So he doesn't want to do the loaner. So just Just buy the new. Don't you love those kind of clients? And I really didn't expect that of him. I rather suspected, I rather expected him to say, well, why do you think that happened? And to get all, upset about it. But no, he says, just buy another one. Yeah, no biggie. Jim says he'd like to take a crack at fixing it if you're willing. Oh, maybe. Wait a minute, that was an exclamation mark C. Why did that not come over SpeakerBot? I just happened to see it on screen. Are there other exclamation mark C's that I did not see? Now, bad RAM. That was another. If it was bad RAM, I would expect more of a consistent symptom. But this is very. It's not consistent at all. Sometimes a light will come on, no image comes on the screen whatsoever, so I don't get into BIOS that time. Sometimes it'll get into BIOS and stay there for several seconds, probably not more than 30 seconds. Right now, the RAM is removed. I'm pretty sure that this RAM is from that computer. I removed it because I was taking a closer look at the motherboard. Now, here's the thing. When I sniff right here, it smells burned. And when I took the RAM out after taking the NVMe out, and I was looking with the magnifying glass real close at the components on the motherboard to see if I could find any obvious, burn or popped capacitor or whatever. And then I wanted to take the motherboard out to look at that again, and I couldn't get the motherboard out again. The first time it was reasonably easy to get it out, but it's like it's stuck now. And I don't know. Do you see that edge there? It looks a little warped right here. And it's hard to believe that is heat damage to the plastic. And if you look at the black vent, those 3 black vents, if you look at the one that's on the left, well, even the one that's all the way on the right, they both look a little bent or warped, but not quite symmetrical, not quite identical. I don't know if that's supposed to be that way. Now, this replacement computer, I can't really count on that because they no longer actually sell this model. When I click my previous order for this model to reorder it, it comes up with this model, which is different. It's a replacement. So it's kind of concerning that they no longer sell this precise model. Arnold Albert says, yes, it's bent. It was definitely bent, but is that bend, was it there originally? Now, his wife has the same model computer, because when we bought these, we bought 2 of them, the exact same model. So I could, when I go back to their house, I want to remember to check that. Interesting, even this way. Look at that, the cover on the top. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but over here, it's maybe bubbled up a little bit. Yeah, so I need to compare it with the other computer that's in good condition. So what happened with that exclamation mark C back here? Because I saw him when he did that message, and I didn't hear it. Let's go copy and paste and see if I get a read chat.
Read chat, please.
Yeah, I heard it.
Read chat, please.
Thermal gun. No, I have a thermal, I have a heat gun to apply heat, but I think he's thinking about a thermal gun to measure the heat. Greg did a test. Yeah, somehow SpeakerBot ignored Jim. The way that this motherboard comes out, I can actually power it up outside of the case. bad Windows update. No, I'm not buying that. It is, oh, the NVMe drive, it does have that controller that some people say is problematic because it has that name, whatever that name was, of the NVMe controller. I'm not using the right words. Phison. Yeah, Greg M says it. Phison. Yeah, it is a Phison. NVMe. Pull a CMOS battery for a longer time. That's how I fixed a few nooks. That's a good idea. I tried I think the reset. I think I found a reset. Yeah, clear CMOS button. Although I'm not certain, you know, some of them, you have to hold them down for a certain amount of time, and then press the power button while you're holding it down, or have the computer on and press the reset button, or do it while it's off. So I hadn't got to that point yet. Capacitors will blow on some of those motherboards. Power issue on the motherboard. It did load Windows 11 after he got back from his trip, and it came up to the desktop, and I was able to connect remote to it, but it has never gone back to there again. Informative link on my YouTube issue from Ken. Two and a half minutes long. I'm back, baby, he says. The name of it. So basically showing here that he can see videos now. For those of you who didn't see that last week, what was happening for him is anytime that he was signed into YouTube with his main account that he's using in chat today, the video screen here would just say video unavailable. And that was true for looking at other people's videos. That was true for looking at his own videos. That was even true while he was live streaming and in the YouTube studio where you're supposed to see the image that you're broadcasting. It says video unavailable, even though he could still interact with the chat room. Yeah, he can interact with the chat room, but when he tried to monitor his live stream, it says video unavailable. And that happened on all of his computers, and it even happened on his cell phone. And I think he had tried it through somebody else's internet connection. And when he switches to one of his other brand accounts, it works flawlessly, even while he's live streaming. Works normally. Maybe flawless was an exaggeration. Doug's not watching anymore. I think that was referring to my reduced consumption of YouTube. And Greg says, I don't have those clients. I have clients who have not paid me for a 2-month-old invoice. Well, I have those too. It's just that I'm not on top of them. I'm not on top of them very much. I will often, when I discover that a client has not paid me for an invoice, it's usually when I've sent them another invoice and I receive a check for that subsequent invoice, and I see if there's another invoice still outstanding. Then I gotta send them a remittance. So that I commonly will
chat, please.
Create a reminder for myself, or an alarm that'll wind up ringing every day. Send a reminder to that client. I send them a reminder and they go, oh, sorry. And then they send a check. Arnold Albert with a read chat, please. And he says, why not take a crack at opening it up now live if we don't have viewers with PC issues? Sure thing. There's a question. There is a request. Let's see. I do have the keyboard camera. Let's see whether it's right side or upside down. Oh, it's got the right side. So then we'll arrange things here a little bit. Get a screwdriver and get a magnetic pad, and I'm working on this with the front of the computer, the power button towards me. So that goes into the first square. There on the motherboard, there are 4 screws, and they are not the same size. So my habit of just putting screws always in a orientation that reflects where they came from paid off. Although later I realized how I could tell where they belong. Now, the first time I took this apart, I took this piece off. That's the SATA connector, and then later realized, oh, I don't need to do that. Did not need to do that. So then there's these 3 screws that are holding this next plate on. So that one's going to go there in the bottom middle. This one's on the bottom left as the perspective that I'm working on the computer. And I remember this screw was a little difficult to pull out. So here I'll freshen up the magnetism of my screwdriver. All right, then I'll go to this. That screw did not actually retract. And I remember last time I pulled this out, what I wound up doing is pulling it out with the cover. That one's not wanting to come up either. Okay, so now, okay, that screw's coming. And both of those screws are coming up. And then, let's remind myself what wires we got here. Yeah, we got 2 wires under there. And originally I took the SATA, disconnected that wire here, but that's after I took this piece off. So this time, and the most recent time that I did, I wound up removing the SATA connector from down here. How about we try a more closer up image here. That's still pretty decent focus. This clip pulls up to release. Yeah, I did it. And the ribbon cable pulls out there. And here we have one of those white connectors that also pulls up. It's a little difficult to get my fingers in there. I can, but it's easy enough to do it that way. So there my screws just fell out when I turned this thing over because I forgot. There's the other one. And I think 2 screws fell out then. Ah, here it is. So that's the orientation of those screws. And then these 2 screws are shorter because they don't go through this. Let's go over here. They don't go through this clip. See, this corner doesn't have one of those clips. And this side has that clip. So that one needs a longer screw. Over here does not need a longer screw. So these 2 screws for the motherboard are shorter. So this is the next set of screws. Oop, on my pad. You can't see the pad. Boom, like that. Okay. So it's just my habit, my way of doing things, staying organized. Now, pulling this motherboard out, the first time that I went to pull it out, it went pretty well. And I did it by pulling up here and realizing that these ports do not actually project into the plastic at all. You can see there that the motherboard comes up to that plastic, but it does not protrude to it. So this should be able to lift straight up. The ports on this side kind of do project into the plastic a little bit. And this is where the first time I did this, it came up pretty easily. And now it just won't. And there's the CMOS battery. So it'd be fairly easy to disconnect it. And I have not done that yet. You see that the memory is removed. I'm thinking that I probably should go ahead and show you the symptom and demonstrate that the symptom is still present. And then we'll try the CMOS battery and we'll put more effort into getting that mother of a board out. Right now, I don't think that I have tried starting it up without memory in place. Now, we're not going to get anywhere without memory in place, but will I get something different? Will it at least stay powered on? Because without memory in place, we're not going to get it to boot into anything. We're not going to get into BIOS, but will the power stay on? That would be a different behavior. Okay, so let me see here. Here's a power supply. I'm going to walk around to the back side of the computer. You want to see me walk around there upside down? Oops, wrong one. Yeah. Look, Mom, I'm upside down. But you want to bet that power line's going to fall down behind there. I'm going to clip it into one of my gadgets. Oops, I got to change back so I'm not standing on my head. Okay, and then get my capture cable. Okay. Somebody asking about the microprocessor, Londog, saying, anybody see the microprocessor on top of this board? No, because it's not there. It has an HDMI and a display port. Yeah, whoop. Okay. Keyboard and mouse. Now, at this point, we don't have this panel on. So we're missing a fan, right? But that fan is mainly for keeping the SATA drive cool. There's a fan underneath here that is, attached to the CPU. So there's a wire for the fan, there's a wire for the SATA. So I think we're okay without those being connected. And I want you to be able to see the power light, right? Okay, so there's that. There's my capture button. My main interest now is, will the power light stay on? Because if there was a problem with the memory causing the computer to power off, then with the memory not installed right now, then it might stay on. However, if the problem is not actually the memory, but it's something else about the motherboard or even the BIOS that is causing the problem, it might be that we won't see the symptom without the memory. I do not hear the CPU fan. That must have been a close-up of the back of my head. Oh, the power light went out. So no, it's not staying on even with that. Okay, so now I'm inclined to go ahead and disconnect the BIOS battery and see if that makes any difference in behavior. I'll disconnect power. And my interest for getting the motherboard out is to examine the other side to see if we can find anything that's obviously damaged. So with that disconnected, power disconnected, CMOS battery disconnected, then additionally hold the power button down for 10 seconds. The CPU fan was running. I know it was functional. And it could be the CPU fan may have been running during that power on instance, and it's just so quiet that I can't hear it. Okay. I'm wondering, do I want to try applying power without the CMOS battery connected? Why not? I don't think that could damage anything. I'm just trying to see some difference in behavior. Reaching over to my stopwatch and just started this. Oh, it's already off. Lights on and lights off right away. Okay, now I'll connect the battery. Wow, I'm feeling heat. Oh, yeah. Oh, that sucker's hot. Yeah, it's hot. And with a similar burn smell. Well, the fan, the CPU fan is on the other side. The fan up here that's blowing to the SATA drive isn't going to have much impact on that CPU. Oh yeah, this thing's all hot. Let it cool down and see if it can get to the underside. All right, I'm going to have to wait. And, oh, yeah, how about this? So the heat seems to be coming from this area. Yeah, this side definitely hotter than this side. Well, here I'm on the Wi-Fi card, so that might be insulating a little bit from the heat. But anyway, that warpage, that looks like warpage, is down here in the area where that heat would be from. See, there you can see the let's see. This is, yeah, this is the top of the computer. So the CPU is on the top of the computer and the CPU fan. And these over here, I believe, would function as, they're probably going to be exhaust and intake from here. So it's blowing fresh air right onto the CPU. When I was on the phone with him, I could hear the fan over the phone. So I've got all the screws out. I wonder if it's actually melted itself to the plastic somewhere. See, Lawn Dog's asking, is at the top of the unit. I think I just talked about that. This is the top. So I took the bottom off in order to access it. Don't have a good place to get any leverage on pushing that out.
Read chat, please.
It feels like it's still screwed in somewhere. David Graham, many PC are known for burning out compositors. Okay. Compositors, huh? Is that your final word? Dog asking if I'm sure I got all the screws out. Yes. There's a screw here for the NVMe drive, but the first time that I took the board out, the NVMe drive was still in place. So that screw is in place, and they're never long enough to actually connect to anything below anyway.
The raid chat, please.
David Grant corrects capacitors. compositors, capacitors. And Phil Stodd says capacitors. Well, there I'm getting some movement. Except when I'm pulling from here, I'm not getting movement. It's not any good to work on this side because this side actually projects into the openings of the case. Here you can see where I'm getting a little bit of space between that HDMI port and the case, or have I actually just bent the ports? No, because here you can see that when I put pressure here, I'm moving the whole thing. But the vents down here don't look like they're moving. Yeah, as I'm pressing on this display port, you can see the rest of these ports moving up, but there's no movement on these vent fins down here. Which this is where the exhaust from the fan comes out. Because I felt the heat coming out of there. It was quite hot. That just doesn't budge at all. Yeah, it feels like there's still a screw in there somewhere, Lawn Dog. The top of the case does not come off, as far as I know, but I have had this motherboard out, and I pulled it out from here, and when these vent fins got up to the top of the case here, because of this little notch right here, I had to pull this out in order to get those black fins to clear that, because at that point in time, these ports were still inserted into the case. So the motherboard comes out like that. And I'm thinking it's the case has actually got molded to something, to those exhaust fins, perhaps. Or the other part, this warpage there, is that putting pressure? Scott's saying, crack it open. It's already broken. Yeah, the client's already decided to replace it. I already have the data in the programs safe. Now see this side, I can bend it out. Can I bend it out enough to get the case out to get the motherboard out in that direction? Maybe. Let's try that. There we go. We got movement. This side's still stuck. There it comes. Now I'll get a peek underside. I have Wi-Fi wires. Now in the case where those fins were, that looks kind of deformed. That's if those Wi-Fi wires look like they've got some kind of a sealant over them, so instead of trying to disconnect the wires, I'm going to take the Wi-Fi card out so we can have more freedom. And that black sealant over the wires is actually connected to the motherboard. Break that off. Okay, so then let's get a better view of what's going on here. I'm going to do a focus adjustment here. Give me a moment. Looking at the deformities here. See, there's a good rectangle there. There's a good shaped rectangle there. That one looks pretty funky, and that one looks pretty funky. These holes all look pretty uniform, except down here they're getting kind of random, like they're misshapen from being melted. Okay. Now let's look at the motherboard closer up. You see some bent fins there, but I think that was from me prying on it with the screwdriver. Let's look through this edge. Looking for anything that's burnt or capacitors blown. I didn't see anything. Scott asked, can I take the fan off? Yep, that's on my mind too.
Read chat, please.
And that read chat was try to power it up outside the case, see if the CPU fan is spinning. Oh, I kind of like that. I had that thought once before too. So we're not going to put, we don't need memory for that. And the power on button. See, there's the power cord. Power on button is right here. And I can hear it depress. Okay. I'll get a place where I can hold this well. Well, that's weird. It's spinning, but it definitely does not sound right. That I was not hearing this noise. I can sense heat. It does, that fan doesn't seem very strong. And it's slowing down. And then it stopped. Feels like the fan has some kind of restriction, some kind of physical restriction. But again, that could be from having pride on things. This is very hot. I cannot keep my finger on it. Which also means I'm not going to take the fan off just yet. I don't see any reason to not take it off and see what's there. Lawn dog saying bearings burned up. I don't know. I didn't hear any noise. I heard the fan running strong, blowing out a lot of air out. Phil Stott, an infrared temperature gun would be very useful at this point. Would it really? The area around it's too hot to touch. Do we really need a thermal gun to tell us what the temperature is? Fan could have gotten heat damage. Well, that's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's the fan damage because of the heat, and because the fan was damaged, it caused the heat. Yeah, around here in the plastic part of the fan, I can keep my hands on it, but out here on the, where it conducts heat, I can't keep my hand on it, my finger on it for even a full second. That is hot. But that was not a normally, I would say that was not a normally running fan. Could I have damaged the fan during disassembly?
Please.
I don't think so. Does this person have cats? Yes, but this computer is very sheltered and out of the way, and I haven't seen any cat hairs. Let's see, Greg. Yeah. See if the computer continues to run Air guns for cleaning keyboards that blows air. I think I probably missed something. Oh, external fan. The metal is so hot, the paste is working. That's a fair point, I think. Thermal throttling is when the computer slows itself down because it's overheating, and that takes an operating system to identify that there's too much heat, as far as I know. I'm not aware that that's built into the motherboard. It might be. But if thermal throttling, it should slow itself down to prevent the overheating. This sucker is hot. So even put my fingers out here, I can't keep this side, I can't keep my finger on it for a full second. And true for that side too. Wow. Oh, when I touch one of those, was it brass? The screw hole there, that's hot. I'm gonna try adjustment on focusing again. It's still too hot for me to take it apart. Oh, it's like one side of the board's in focus and the other side is out of focus. That's because of the fisheye lens effect, I think. Zavimanor suggested disassembling the heatsink and check the status of the thermal paste. Yeah, I'm interested in doing that. Gotta wait for it to cool down. Go take a direct look at Zavi's comment. Oh, regards from Zavi, who can't participate but is watching. Oh, okay. So Ran is relaying his comments. Got it. Teamwork. Leaf blower. Yeah, that'll blow the motherboard right off my desk, right? Dust bunnies blocking the vents. Well, when we get to it, for that, this fan has a cover that when I can take that off and we can see the inside of the fan. Taking off the fan to see the condition of the heat sink would be those two screws and this screw. Yeah, that sucker's still too hot. Here, let's try this. Just kidding. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, I'll tell you
chat, please.
The status of my Synology NAS. David Graham is asking if I own a thermal camera. No, I do not. Daniel Pert, is it possible something was blocking the airflow, the client's home or business? I asked the client about that, pointing out to him that the air intake is on the top of the computer, and he claimed that he did not. I asked him, do you have anything blocking around the sides or the back or the top or even the bottom? Is the computer on something soft? And he claimed no, but when I connected to when we connected to whatchamacallit, with the cell phones, they FaceTime. I'm so certain that I saw a Post-it note on the top covering about half of the top of the computer. And then a moment later, the phone moved away. And then when the phone came back over there, that Post-it note was gone. So I'm not totally convinced about that. And I'm wondering if that might be why my client was so quick to say, let's just buy a new one. Hold it next to the wall, fan on the wall next to Big Beast. Let's get that fan cover off. Put on some gloves. Well, I have gloves. It's, the gloves that'll protect me from the heat are pretty thick. Oh, you know what? I still have it plugged into power. Could the power still be generating heat from a short? Oh, the power connector is hot. Watch this, the power is going to get welded in place. You know what? I think that's likely what's going on. It's because we're still had power applied to it, so it's still generating heat. This is it's radiating heat. Whoa. Oh, wow, look at this. All right, I got to go get me something to grab this with. Houston, we have a problem. Holy moly. Lawn Dog says, we should have caught that, people. I thought about it. I really good. He says he thought about it, but he didn't tell us about it. Watch this. Watch this. Be prepared to be blown away. What's wrong with this picture? I'm waiting to see you. Comment about what you're seeing here. Fan not in place, heatsink not making good contact, warped cooler. Look at all that clearance. Let's see, I need to get you some better light. Let's do it this way. There is a plate right here that's supposed to be affixed to the bottom of this heat sink and radiator. And it's got a brass tubing here. It looks like there's some adhesive there that is separated and it's pulled away. And this whole thing is just warped up out of place. Somewhere there must be some kind of direct short that the power still being connected was causing problem. Okay, so let me tell you the story about the the NAS, and we'll come back to that in a few minutes. Oh, I guess that camera's okay there. I've talked to you about the Law 40 office. That's how I've referred to them a number of times. 40 because that's about how many desks they have, workstations, not computers, because they also have the servers and they have a bunch of laptops that people use and computers at home offices and so on. And I've told you that they have 2 servers. Each of those servers have 1 terabyte of data space. They are old servers needing to be replaced. And so the consideration on my mind has been to replace with a NAS. I told you last week about when I was copying files to the NAS from one of my hard drives, I ran into the file path length limitation. And I figured that this office is going to have far more troubles with that. So what I've done is I took that NAS that Carrie Holzman supplied to me for my own purposes of experimenting with and using, and I've put that over there as a loaner. I bought 2 Western Digital Iron Pro, something like that, hard drives. What they're called? Something like that. The drives that are specifically for NASs. 212 terabytes. So that supplies theoretically 12 terabytes of space, really 11 terabytes. And I have copied the files last night, started the copy operation to copy files
chat,
just
please.
from one of the servers. Seagate Ironwolf, that's what it is. Oh, I'm sorry, I said Western Digital, sorry. I got them really mixed up, didn't I? Thank you, Randy Israel. Seagate Ironwolf. Let's throw you some points. And the copy operation took several hours. Then currently right now at the moment it's sitting with a message that says 17 files are too long. Now I just used a Windows drag and drop, just Windows Explorer. So I've become more familiar with this, what is it, the utility that apparently has been in Windows for a long time, and I just wasn't aware of it. The other copy command, what was that called? Want to say, I think it was last week that, was it Gary Weisenberger? No, or Jim? I'm not sure.
Read chat,
Who brought
please.
it up last week? Not Xcopy. I'm very familiar with Xcopy, but this other one is of more interest. I'm trying to look for it over here. Oh, Robocopy. Robocopy. I had never heard of it, and it has been included in Windows.
Read chat, please.
Yes, Rand Israel. Robocopy. The server is a Windows 2000 server, I think, and it has Robocopy. So, yeah, I didn't know it. And it looks like that's going to probably do a much better job. Greg M says, yeah, it's been in Windows for years. Yeah, I was not aware of it at all. I guess probably because I never needed anything. I just drag and drop through File Explorer has always been sufficient. Yes, Jim, it's a dinosaur. Emphasis on the word soar. I think it was Windows 2000. Or could it be? No, it's more likely 2008. You know what? Am I still connected remote to it? Oh, I am. I'm not going to bring that up on screen for you. Let's see what it is. Windows Server 2008 R2. Yeah, not 2000. But still, 2008 is a little old. So, Jim, it's just ancient. Not the other term that he used. Dinosaur. Not a dinosaur, just ancient. So my plan is to, over the rest of the weekend, since I've got all the files copied except for 17. That's fine. I'm going to not worry about those right now, but I want to test their Microsoft Access database, their A1 law, which I think is going to be fine because that data is stored on the second server. So it's not included. Most of their content is PDF files in Word. There's, I don't think they're actually using Legal Solutions anymore. They use Abacus. Abacus requires a file server, so I might have to keep one of these around for that. And what else am I concerned about? Do I perceive faster operation? And what's it going to take for me to change the drive mappings for all the computers? And I'm going to be setting up all the user accounts. So I'm going to be looking for a way to help with that. I'll be asking, well, let's just go ask an AI right now about that. Let's go see if I've got, I'm going to look at chat history. Yeah, so I'm going into my existing chat on this issue. Nope, this chat has an internal error. That's the biggest problem that I've been having with these AIs, where they get messed up. I'll ask a question and then it has an internal error and I can no longer continue with that chat. I have to start a new chat and I've lost all of that conversation. Sometimes I can come back to it and it will continue on. Let's see if I can do that. What did I want?
Read chat, please.
Jim says, unless the old server was using 100 megabytes, the old server it's gigabit networking. I just confirmed that. Is the NAS using 1 gigabit? Then I doubt it's faster. What I think might be slow about the old server is the speed of the hard drives. Maybe that's a difference for them, maybe not. Not sure. What was I going to ask? 5400 RPM. I don't know at the moment. I'm trying to get back my thought. What was I going to ask it next? Oh, yeah, the user accounts. Is there a way to streamline setting up the user accounts on the NAS? Period. Can I export the user account, the list of user account names from Microsoft Windows 2008 Server R2? And what is the best way to go about doing that? I think if I just thought about it a little bit, I'd probably come up with a solution, but so quickly just turned to AIs as a starting point. And now it's thinking through that. This is AIstudio.google, and it
Read
usually
chat, please.
defaults to deep research. So it's trying to come up with a model here for doing that. That last reads chat, please, from Rand Israel. Work group or domain environment. It's a work group environment. No domain. I'm going to go turn the air conditioner on. Yeah, this AI can take a long time, and it might wind up with an internal error.
Read
I
chat, please.
I also like to go back to old chats that has a bunch of conversation and then ask a new question for something that I was talking with a chat a number of days ago. Usually I can do that and it works. But this morning I had one of those that I tried to do and that did not work.
Read chat, please.
Let's see, there's 2 read chats, 3. Got that one already. So the user accounts are all local accounts on individual computers. Yes, and the accounts are on the server as well. Does the server contain shadow accounts for each client? Yes. Same user password? Yes. So the user password is set up on the local workstation and set up on the server because we're not using a domain. And then Jim says 1231. Whoa. Don't use the scroll button while I have the orange dot. I'll get to the beginning of the 1231s. Then looking for Jim. I didn't see anything there at 1231 from Jim. 1241, he says. Versus 7200. Yeah, the speed. I realize that's what you're asking there. I don't know offhand. RPM speed isn't going to matter much on a 1 gigabit LAN. If you upgraded to 2.5 gigabit, then you'd see a difference. Yeah. Okay. I trust you on that. I don't have not focused very much on those issues. The server is SAS drives. And oh, I have some of those here. $15,000 RPM. So yeah, that kind of makes you wonder, could it be slower on the NAS? I'm not studied up on
Red chat, please.
Is RPM the only thing about different drive technologies that accomplishes speed of file transfer? I'm suspecting it's not. The get local user PowerShell command on the server will list all accounts. Also net user in command prompt.
Read chat, please.
Then Jim says 15,000 isn't going to make a difference. The bottleneck is the land speed. All right. Okay, well now the file server has 4 network ports, but they're not bound together. The only thing that I've done with them is to have some computers in the office address those IP address, the server by IP address, as a way of segregating traffic. The NAS has 2 network ports that can be bound together. So does that effectively give us 2 gigabits per second? I'm probably more interested. I'll just put it into probably maybe put it into test operation for one of their users and just get their impression, because I don't really care about the numbers saying that it's going to be faster. If their impression isn't that it's faster, then it's not going to have that value. Now let's see what those, oh, net user. Yeah, that gives me all the usernames. So I'm okay with exporting those from the server and then using those in the NAS to help create the accounts. Is there a way to create a spreadsheet of usernames and passwords and import those to the Synology NAS? That would be slick, because I already have their passwords in an Excel worksheet and their user account names. I don't even need to export them. Just use my Excel worksheet that has their Windows user accounts and their passwords. If I can import those into the NAS to create the user accounts, that'd be cool. So I guess I'm not really interested in exploring further about exporting the usernames from the server.
Read chat, please.
Okay, there's this one. That one I got. So this is the only one. I know how to do that on Windows using a PowerShell script, CSV file. No idea the NAS supports it. So what's Doug going to do? Well, ask the AI, and it's still running, still working on this. Okay, so let's go do a new chat. Click on chat up here. With a Synology NAS model DS918, is there a way to import usernames and passwords that I have in an Excel worksheet? I know I have NAS misspelled. It don't matter. It'll figure it out. Synology Disk Manager does not provide a direct feature to import. However, there are a few other approaches. Manual creation. Yeah, because that's easier than creating them manually. Right. Thank you very much. Scripting with Synology's CLI, more advanced. Connect via SSH, extract data from Excel, save it as a CSV, use Synology. Synology provides a command line tool for managing users. Create a user. Basic command is yada yada. You loop through your CSV data file, and then here it creates a script. So I can let the AI create the script for me and just provide it with the data. Be careful with handling passwords in a script. So Gee, does that mean don't do it while I'm live streaming? Really? Mm. Oh, home services. Synology automatically create home directories. I'm not interested in that. Unless they have to have home directories. Do users on Synology have to have home directories? Not going to join to a domain. For a small number of users, manual is easiest. This is one of those things where if I go down this road of trying to automate it, what's the chances that I'm going to wind up spending more time trying to automate it than just right off the bat go do it manually? It's not that big of a deal. Okay. Here we go. Yep, we're good. Yeah, it was that power that was still connected. Wow. So whatever's gone wrong with this sucker has gotten worse and worse and worser. Yeah, like it matters for me to keep the screws straight anymore. Starting with the cover for the fan. Wow, nothing looks wrong there. That looks pristine. And it's turning just fine. I think that noise that I was hearing was because probably, well, no, doesn't appear to be anything warped here. That's surprising. I thought that was going to be all messed up. Yes, I'm still putting the screws on the magnetic pad. It's an addiction. I can't help it.
Read chat, please.
All right. If you're going to do this only once in a blue moon, do it manually. Committing to scripting as a long-term plan. Yeah, I think that's a fair idea. Ran. Okay, so at this point, I'm got the thermal paste to contend with. Let's disconnect the fan electrical. And this way. Much easier. Cavemen like tools. Don't really see anything wrong with that part. This part, on the other hand, so this fan was screwed on there. That looks like some kind of adhesive there, but there isn't adhesive all the way through that pipe. I think the fan's completely separate from that, because you should be able to replace the fan without replacing all of this. But this, the pipe, that is swollen by comparison to its neighbor. See how swollen this second pipe is? That's what got deformed, I think. And this side of the vents is all lifted up. Okay, let's take these out. Heat pipe. There you go. Thank you, Lawn Dog. Under the heat pipe is this heat sink and then the CPU.
Read chat, please.
CP3PU. If the heat pipe is bent, game over, you'll never get a replacement. Yeah, I wouldn't try to repair this. That's what's so nice about these inexpensive mini computers. Although this is not the $200. This is about, when we bought it, this was, I think, close to 500 or 400 something. And now the replacement, the newer improved version, is 350, somewhere around there. There's a screw over here to take off. There we go. I don't see anything visibly wrong with that thermal paste. It transfers off to my finger. This part up here where the chip isn't completely covered is okay because it's on right here. So the heatsink got so hot that electrically there must have been a short somewhere, because while it was still plugged in, it was still generating heat. Do we see any evidence of electrical components, circuit board components, that have been overheated? Can that much heat have been coming from the CPU itself? You know, this is outside of my area. This is board repair. I don't know that stuff very well. I'm just looking to see if there's any obvious burned spots or components. I see nothing. There's a capacitor. Am I right that not all capacitors look like these can type, or they're newer styles of capacitors? Curious. I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm not going to reassemble this. I'm not doing anything more with this. That's as far as we go. Not interested in putting it back together. Not interested in trying to make it work. It's a goner. Go bury it in my backyard. No, I won't do that. All right. Just a little quick glance at chat. Don't see anything that I've got to follow up on. It'll go to e-waste. Got a service here in town that specializes in electronic e-waste. So they'll just take these parts as they are. I could put the plastic case into normal recycling bin as long as it has no electronics in it. So I think that'll do it. I think I'm going to check out. It's 1:02 p.m. So 2 minutes of overtime so far. And any last words from chat? This is the time. This isn't the time for giving me a Windows technical problem that you're having. It should have come a long time ago. Oh, just me wants the long outro again. Ken gives us the last word. Is that really the last word? No, Scott came up with the word points. Does Carrie have a show right now? Let's go over here to my shortcut. Oh, yeah, he does. All right, so let's go do a redirect. Come here to YouTube Studio. Customization. Redirect. See, that was the proof that I had the Cheers trailer set up. And then let's see, Mike's unboxing and Carrie. So Mike's unboxing is live right now, apparently, or scheduled for it. Let's go advertise him. See, let you know he started at 12:14 p.m. my time. So 47 minutes ago, 48 minutes ago, something like that. There's Carrie. Save that. So that'll redirect you to him. Part 3 QNAP. Are all our NVMe SSDs still running hot? That's the title. All right. So there's the email address. You can send a question. You can put a comment on any of my videos. You can ask a question in the chat room. The main focus is to answer technical issues people are having with their Windows computers currently. That's the highest priority for this channel. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. I will catch you later. Hasta la vista.
That's all, folks.
Tune in 6 days a week for Windows support, the help you seek. Send an email, leave a comment, join the chat. Our tech-savvy crew is where it's at. Not just me, but a whole community, helping you solve tech mysteries. With friends who are here almost every day, we love to chat and help you find your way. So subscribe now, be part of the team, for Windows support and more than you dream. Join the fun, don't miss a single stream at LiveWindowsTraining-DougBetts, or simply where tech support supreme. Where tech support supreme. Tune in 6 days a week for Windows support, the help you seek. Send an email. chat. Our tech-savvy crew is where it's at. Not just me, but a whole community, helping you solve tech mysteries. With friends who are here almost every day, we love to chat and help you find your way. So subscribe now, be part of the team, for Windows support and more than you've dreamed. Join the fun, don't miss a single stream. And live Windows Training-DougBetts, or simply more deeply VB, like tech support supreme. We're tech support supreme. We're tech support supreme. Tech support supreme. We're tech support supreme. We're tech support supreme. We're tech support supreme.